This episode is a little bit different from my past episodes. It's an about me episode, so you kind of get to know me, kind of get to know this experience I had, these memories, and it's a Q&A, so it's questions that you may have had, and I'm going to be answering them today for you. So, yeah, this is my first solo trip ever experience. Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. On this show, our mission here is to lift ourselves up and challenge ourselves to grow every single day to be the best we can be. I'm your host, Megan Verona, and welcome to Verona's Self Development Podcast. For the first time ever, last year, September last year, 2019, I went on my first solo vacation ever. It was to San Diego, California, and from here to San Diego, it's about an hour flight, a few hours driving, so it wasn't too far, not too much to handle. But yeah, it was my first solo experience ever, and I thought it was a really big accomplishment because I am very, very dependent on other people's company. Honestly, it's discouraging sometimes because I can't always ask people to travel with me, and it brought me to a realization that uh, other people, they're not gonna be able to live my dream with me. So that's pretty much why I booked the vacation, because I had that little realization that I'm gonna need to live my dream on my own and not depend on anybody else to be with me through it. So I don't know if you guys are gonna believe this or not, but I bought my plane ticket on Frontier. This is actually why I decided to go on this trip, because I bought my plane ticket on Frontier for only $30. So that's $15 there and $15 back. So yeah, when I saw that great deal, I was not even really considering that I might not have anybody to go with. I was kind of just thinking, well, it's a really good price and it's a good opportunity, so why wouldn't I take it? I was definitely scared to do it, and I was considering very often to just back out, but I kind of erased that thought by telling myself that I have to do this in order to grow and in order to get comfortable with living my dream, which is completely true. That's exactly what I did. So it was a scary thought, but not at all something that I regret. So that leads me to my first question. Was this vacation scary? And like I said, it was scary beforehand, and it was scary saying bye to my boyfriend, and it was scary being at the airport, the whole situation where passing TSA and like not knowing where to go afterwards. I've only had one airport experience before that, and that was when I was with someone. So I kind of had I kind of had someone to depend on and help me and guide me through, but that was the scariest part. Not knowing where to go, not just the whole directions and like that whole process. But it surprisingly went really smoothly. I think that it was just the anticipation that kind of got to me. I just stayed cautious and I asked a lot of questions, which is necessary. You should definitely be asking a lot of questions when you're doing something as big as a solo trip. Never really try to do anything like that on your own. But other than that, it wasn't too scary. I was kind of just going with the flow, and yeah, it wasn't all that scary. Where did I stay? I stayed at a hostel. So if you don't know what a hostel is, it's basically like a dorm. You share your room with a few other people. The hostel I stayed at was Ocean Beach Hostel. I think the company is USA Hostels. It's a 7-minute walk from the hostel to the beach, which is very cool. I thought it was a very convenient location. It was also very cheap. It was like 30 to $35 a night. And yeah, there were a lot of shops, there were a lot of restaurants, a lot of really cool places near the hostel. So I was in a perfect area. And like I said before, I did stay in San Diego. I love San Diego so much. There's a lot of nature there, but it's also a lot of city life too. So it's like the perfect balance. Ocean Beach in general, I like a lot because it's really relaxed and chill compared to a lot of other areas I've stayed in San Diego. What was the experience like being a girl solo traveling? So, I'm sure it's pretty common everywhere, or at least Las Vegas, it's common, but they're strangers, men, they would approach me often. Um, I just stayed cautious though. It's important that you're prepared. I think because I was prepared, it wasn't so bad. It wasn't as scary, or I didn't feel as threatened because I was always cautious. I was always in public, so if anyone did try anything, I would be equipped. I had my phone fully charged. I was pretty smart about the whole thing, which, if you are a girl who's planning on solo traveling often, you have to be prepared in that way. You have to make sure you're safe about it. Don't just expect that nothing's gonna happen to you. Um, yeah, but just being prepared, I guess, made it pretty easy being a girl. That's sad to say, but it wasn't too hard. It wasn't too scary. Just because I was safe about everything that I was doing. And a quick tip is that you can actually use your phone to your advantage. Um, Someone told me once that people tend to get freaked out when they see that you're recording. So, if you're ever in that kind of situation, you can just pull out your camera and start recording. I think it's because they know that they're one click away from the internet and getting caught if they're trying something, or I'm sure that a lot of girls can relate to this too, but if I'm ever in a sketchy situation, I hold the phone to my ear as if I'm talking to someone, and it kind of freaks them out, I guess. But yeah, it's good to have your phone and use it to your advantage when you're ever in a situation like that. Things that I hated. Number one, without a doubt, the first thing I hated was the loneliness. At nighttime, I would be kind of sad because I wanted to tell someone about my day, and I wanted someone just to be there and support me, and um, kind of like experience the nighttime with me. And yeah, it was just lonely not being able to like tell someone how my day went. And sometimes when I would be experiencing something really beautiful like a sunset, I would say like, dang, I wish someone was here to see this with me. But yeah, that was number one. Number two was the lack of privacy. So being in a hostel does have its disadvantages. I wanted to be alone when I went to sleep, um, or I don't know, it's just a lack of privacy. I'm sure everybody needs their space sometimes. Just knowing that I couldn't go back home to being alone kind of sucked. Another thing that I hated was how hard I was budgeting. I didn't really have money to go out and do a ton of things. I was eating leftovers. So there was a lot of stuff that, or there was a lot of things that I would have been able to do if I wasn't budgeting so hard. But I did have another vacation planned the month after, so I was taking it really easy and trying not to spend. But if I would have had more money, I probably would have enjoyed the vacation a lot more because I like trying new foods, and like I said, I didn't really like the lack of privacy that I had, and if I had more money, I would have been able to invest in a better, um, like a hotel or something. Things that I loved. Number one, without a doubt, I loved the freedom. So the freedom was definitely, it outweighed any loneliness I was feeling. The freedom made it all worth it because I was able to go wherever I wanted. I was able to do whatever I wanted. I was able to see anything. If I wanted to stop and snap 50 pictures in one area, I was able to do that with nobody there to kind of like look over my shoulder and say, let's go. Also, experiencing, like I said, experiencing the sunset alone, it had its cons. I wanted someone there with me, but at the same time, I got this feeling that, or I didn't get this feeling actually, I didn't get the feeling that I needed to amuse the other person, or I needed to make sure they were okay while I was enjoying this. I kind of just was able to enjoy everything worry free, not having to deal with making sure everyone else was okay. I planned out every day how I wanted to, and yeah, the freedom was amazing. I loved it so much. Also, something I loved about this trip was the new experience. Just knowing that I was trying something for the first time and I was growing from it. So that was very exciting. It was something I absolutely loved, knowing that I gained experience. And honestly, what I love the most is being able to say that I did it, knowing that I had a goal and there was something that I really wanted to achieve, and I did it. So yeah, I love that so much. What would I have done differently? I would have saved more money. Like I said, I was budgeting really hard, and I feel like I would have been a lot more comfortable knowing that I had money to be spending. I also would have researched on transportation. I was walking everywhere, and Lyft rides, they were really expensive. I would have done research on the bus transportation because that would have been cool to be able to kind of widen my range of places I could go. It's walking only gets you so far, and it's a struggle trying to visit and travel a lot of different places when you don't really have a car. So that would have been one of the things, and also to check Airbnb to see if there were any homes available, or like rooms available that I could have rented while I was there. My advice for you is to take action, book the trip, um, listen to your impulse when it involves growing. Be prepared to research on where you're going to stay and what you're going to do. I know uh, before I did this trip, I did some research on Google Maps and I kind of studied the areas. I was familiar with the streets by the time I actually got there because I was memorizing them on Google Maps, so it would be easier for me to be comfortable in the area and to not get lost. And also have all of your equipment ready, like your phone, just everything you need to be safe and to have a good time.